All right. Tight. I think I'll mute myself here. Sure. There we go. Where are the videos? Okay. Oh. Oh. What the hell was that? Why didn't you copy the way I wanted you to copy? It's kind of strange. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. And here it goes. I'll post it in there also. All right, everybody, here we go. You know what? The first thing I'll do is let's update the postseason race and who's clinched so far. Just gonna also grab this Discord message and send it over regular text, because now I would like everyone and everywhere to read this and follow along. And honestly, you guys are always the group that will still ask me a question that I covered in this video. So for once, let's not do that. Let's pay attention and let's get ready to start the postseason. Before that, I want to preface by saying it's been a hell of a season. It's coming down to the final days of the regular season or the final games where a lot of things are going to be decided. So, this definitely shows us that we are best to win the draft league. The draft league was something that should have been in play for a while, and just we keep remembering that we're in full control, so we can make the draft league in any style that we want. When people hear draft league, they think, oh, it's got to be this or it's got to be that, and it's not original teams. We sort of kept a feel of the original teams by guys having 4 keepers per team. So, anything can be done. You just got to, put the time and the effort into it. So I want to share screen real quick. I'm going to do my update on the race to the postseason. I got my Excel file. I just opened it up, and I've been updating this every few days. This probably could do an every other day update, but with the way you guys have been playing, that's another thing to talk about. Like, you guys are like crumbling to the end of the season. And I know September is a busy time, so it tells you that the league should probably have the regular season run to end before September. So we're a little bit in the chokehold based on when the game drops and that type of stuff. But it's clear that if we can get this thing to end sort of end of August and then start the postseason maybe in September. So where the guys who are who are already there, they're going to be more engaged. But we'll figure that out when the next time comes around. Right now, we're going to talk about the race to the postseason, and we're going to do an update here. I think 5, 2, and 2 Hot are at the same record. And then you're at 54 and 22. You're at 53 and 22. I'm just gonna confirm this by checking on the scored on Mike's weekly, daily standing update. So let's look at standings. And the last update is my game, which is like, I felt more people should have played after I played last night. But we're crumbling to the end. We only got about 6 games to go, guys. Let's pick it up. I hate to be the one that has to be like a mommy or daddy. I think you guys missed Tim treating you like you're not adults and telling you jump on the game and play right now. I mean, I feel you guys are all adults and should not have to be chased on to play a game. I mean, what would be like the evaluation is that, you know, some people aren't fit to play a full long season. I mean, that's the way I would look at it instead of chase you guys to have you get on and play. You know, some people probably will lose an opportunity at being invited again, because if I got to chase you for 4 weeks to play, let's not give each other an extra stress. You know, that's the way I look at it. So 5 is at 54 and 22. 2 Hot's at 53 and 22. It's going to be an interesting end to the season with you guys playing that tight in the Erie division. Gigi, I believe, took 2 so far from Mike. So that actually gives him the clinch on the Tea Party division. 45 and 31. And this also brings in a race for the number 6 seed, which I sort of felt like this was locked up because Mike got a decent lead, but Freak has a chance here now to jump from 7 to 6. We'll see. I mean, you still got to play the games. So here's what we got. We got the Erie division. Looks like it's going to go down to the last 3 games of the season. The Tea Party division he's at 51 and 24. He's at 75 games. Mike is 45 and 31. And he's at 76 games. All right. So at this rate, Mike, you would have to win every single game, and Gigi will have to lose every single game for you to go into a tie with him. But I believe he has the edge on you in series matchup. So you guys play 7, and I'm just gonna check this real quick. He is so far 5-0, so he's won the division. I would say his since there were 6 games left for him to be played, his magic number would have been 1. But because the only possibility right now is for him to end at 51 and 31 losses, and that will be at a tie with the Padres. So that would be the only way you would be able to win the division. But then that would come down to head-to-head record, and Dodgers has won that series. So the Dodgers has clinched the Tea Party division. The Braves at 49 and 27 have clinched the Bronx division. And AJD is at 51 and 27. So this division is still available. You're at 78 games, and Freak is at 75. So, you know, Freak still got 6 to go. So you're only 4 losses behind him, and that's still catchable. You guys have a series at the end of the season, and I believe this division will be wrapped up then. But if you take a look right now, this should be even. If you take a look right now, so let me set the games back here. So this is 6 and 6 and 6, 7. So it's 4.5. So this is the set status right now for the division leaders. It pretty much looks like the 1-2 seed in the playoff is not fully decided because 2 Hot and 5 will play each other, and the Dodgers has a chance to jump into that 1 seed with them being so close. So it's only 2 games back in the loss column. And with ATL Braves and AJD this far back, it looks like, I mean, they still have a chance, but it's taking too many losses. It means that the number 1 seed would have to lose they're 5 games ahead. They would have to lose 5 out of 6. So it's likely ATL Braves and AJD are fighting to be in that 3-4. And, you know, the loser of that will end up facing 2 Hot or 5-2 in the first round, which will be very interesting. I guess none of these guys want to be the loser of that situation. So going down to the wild card half of the postseason, Freak has a shot to get out of that wild card scenario where you are going to play. If with him being 7th here, he would play Skid in a 1-game playoff. The winner would advance and become the 7th seed in the postseason, and then face off against the number 2 seed, which will either be Dodgers or Blue Jays or Guardians. And then the loser of that game will then play the winner of this 10-8 game, which now, if I update this, I believe, is he at 39? Yep, 39 wins and 36 losses. So, Freak, you've been sitting there at a while at 44 and 31. We got, I believe you were ahead of us anyway. And Tat dropped back with 4 straight losses. I'm at 500. And the home and away scenarios go 7 gets home against 8. 9 gets the home game against 10. And the loser of this game will face the winner of this game. And that player in the 7-8 position that lost will get home advantage over the winner of 9-10. So there you go. If I set the games back, so that will be, you know what, there's a switcheroo here. So actually 9. Let's just do a quick sort. Let's just do a quick sort. And really, I came in here to focus on the rules of engagement, but first we have to do this. So let's wrap this up real quick so that guys pay attention for the rules of engagement. So here we go. Move this banner over here. So Freak is at, let's see, 3, 4, 7, 9, 15. So he is plus 8, no, plus 7.5. Oh, in lead of Tat. Skid is 2 and 4, that makes 6. So he's plus 3 games ahead. Myself, I'm 1 plus 2, 3. I'm only plus 1.5, 1.5 games ahead. And Tat's only got about, how many more games left in the season? 4 games left in the season. So this is all coming down to a head right here, man. And everyone below this, just remember there is a consolation playoffs. So I suggest you guys just be ready to play that at the end of the season. So be mindful that we're going to have two sets of playoffs, and there's going to be a payout for the consolation playoffs. So you'll be paying for something. You'll be playing for something. So don't think it's meaningless. So this is the skinny right now with the wild card breakdown, and it's amazing just to look at the numbers, the standings, at how like everything is everything that there's like a bunch of storylines all over here, you know. So I think D-backs went ahead of the Braves just because of games played. All right, and do a quick sort, and it's gonna do a little wackiness. All right. All right, and when we look at who's clinched, I mean, are these 10 guys the guys that are in it? I think since he got to 44 losses, definitely Freak is clinched. So the guys all the way. Also, Skid has clinched. I think his magic number was 2. With my win last night, I have clinched. I'm only down to how many games remaining? 2. I only have 5 games remaining, and there's no way I can get to 44 losses. I can get to 43 losses with that. So Tat will need 1 win, or if since he loses a game, then he's clinched, and then the postseason is a lock with these 4 and the 5 and the 6 teams above with these 10 teams. And I think that's pretty much going to be decided soon. I'm just going to leave it here, and I'll post this a bit later because I want to get into the rules of engagement for the postseason. So we're going to go to Discord. We're going to take a look at the postseason rules. And you know what? I'm not even going to do on this story. I'm going to go to, because I have it more zoomed up on the Word document that I was working on. So let's go to my Word document. Let's move this over here. Let's go to full screen mode, and let's start from the top. All right. So before the start of the postseason, we want everyone to know that teams are allowed to set up their rotations as need be for the wild card round, and that's mainly for the guys that are in the 7, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 seed, because you guys have like the 1 gamers to play. So if you paid attention, we're all gonna pitch. It's 81 game season, so your number 1 starter will be pitching that very last game. It's up to you if you want to do that, but it probably is wise to sit and use a spot starter for that very last game if you already know you're locked into the 8th or you're locked in the 7th and nothing is changing. And you might as well sit your number 1, do a spot starter, do whatever you need to do to have another pitcher pitch that game, and then be ready for the postseason. This regular season is going to end on October 5th, Wednesday, October 5th. So I'm going to start getting on everyone's phones and text messages, check in, giving you guys updates and how many games you got remaining. Today's Friday night. You got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 6 days to knock out. I mean, everyone they're either at 6 or less games remaining in the season. Some guys may be at 7, but I think you guys can have a doubleheader here and there, or 1 a night, and this could be done. Especially for the guys that are in the postseason, we want this done. The guys that are not, or in the consolation bracket, we're going to give a day off because the wild card is going to start October 6th. So if you're not in the A playoff, you're not in the main playoff, and you're in the consolation playoff, only the wild card is going to play on that day, October 6th, which will be Thursday. On Friday, we're going to open up the doors to the second wild card game, second round of wild card game. So the first round of wild card game is the 7th seed versus the 8th seed, then the 9th seed versus the 10th seed. And all of these games, the A playoff, the main playoff, you guys have to be on Zoom with your cell phone. I'm gonna add that to the rules and update it. And this is gonna take time for us to make this happen. So, I mean, I'm gonna start prepping you guys on getting ready for that. So these two games are the only games on the main schedule of the playoffs. October 6th. October 7th, we'll go ahead and start the other playoffs. So you know what? I'm gonna put another note here of October 7th is the start date. Is start date for both main and consolation playoffs. And then the games that would be played would be seed main playoff. It will be seed 4 versus seed number 5, and also seed, is that it? 3 versus 6. Well, let's put this 3-6. 3 versus 6 start on October 7th, and 4 versus 5. And this is the same thing for the consolation playoff. I believe it's 3-6 and 4-5 as well, because these guys are waiting for the teams that lose in these wild card rounds will become the 2 teams that lose in the wild card rounds, seed 7, 8, 9, and 10. 2 of those teams will fall down to being the number 1 and the number 2 seed in this consolation bracket, and that number 1 and number 2 will be facing the 7th and 8th seeds in the consolation playoffs. So on October 7th, this will be the start date while the second round of the wild card is in play. The main and the consolation playoffs are a goal. The main playoffs are going to be 7-game series. The consolation playoffs are going to be 5-game series. And there's only 2 days off in a 7-game series, 1 day off in a 5-day series. And what that means is it's an agreed upon day off. So you and your opponent are going to agree on the days off in this series. In the main playoff, where it's a 7-game series, you can only use up 1 of your days off in the first 5 games. So, you know, I don't want you guys playing 4 games and then you already use a day off and then you're saying, oh, we need another day off. No, we don't want this thing to drag along. We need this thing to play smooth and go quickly, right? And so that will you'll only have 1 day off in the first 5 games, and if the series looks like it's stretching to 6 and 7, we'll give you a chance to agree upon it for a second day off. So here's the skinny on what's going to happen in the playoffs. Wild card teams must post their starting pitchers at the end of the regular season. And then teams will post their starting pitchers prior to every round. So if you win in this 7-8 game, you're done. You're moving on to be the 7th seed, and you're gonna post your 4 starters for the 7-game series coming up. If you're playing in this round again, you're gonna just go ahead and post your starter for this second game, right? And that's pretty much a straightforward look at how the wild card is gonna be. Now, when we get to the division and the pennant round and the World Series round, there's gonna be a few things added. The teams that are not in the wild card round, we're gonna do the energy reset like we did at the beginning of the season, where those teams will be allowed to go in a game versus the computer, and if you quit right away, your starting pitchers and your relief pitchers' energies will refill. Right, so you're going to be allowed to redo that as many times as needed to fill all the energies on all your starting pitchers and your relief pitchers, right? We're going to talk that over. And so goes for the consolation playoffs. You guys will wait for me to give you the word on how that will be done. Then once you've made it over to the division round, if you're the 3, 4, 5, and 6, you're already in there. You must post your 4 starting pitchers for that 7-game series. On the consolation bracket, you guys will be posting 3 because 3 is the minimum amount of games needed to be played in a 5-game series. And now we have a caveat here of where the game has the ability for us to go to starting pitchers when we go to the bullpen. I don't think much of you guys have looked at it, but we've looked at it and found that it can be useful in this postseason. The wild card rounds, we're not going to allow you to play that starting pitch using the starting pitchers out the bullpen game. Only in the division series and on. So how will that work? So this number 3 here basically says that teams will be allowed to use their starting pitchers out the bullpen in this year's postseason. So you're going to start before the start of the postseason. You're going to post your game 1, game 2, game 3, and game 4 starters, right? And then after posting these starters, you will have more starters available to you, right? And those starters are going to be allowed to be used out the bullpen if you so deem to do so. And I do have to say something else here on when you can use it, right? So you can use anyone that you haven't posted in the games 1, 2, 3, or 4. You can use those pitchers in any of the games of your postseason out the bullpen. The only time you can use a pitcher that you posted in the game 1 as a starter for game 1, game 2, game 3, or game 4 is in a deciding game. And what does that mean? Let's say your series goes 5, 6, 5 games. You can't use any of these four starters. If your series goes 6 games, you can't use any of these 4 starters. But if your series goes 7 games, meaning you're the team that's in the lead, this is for the team that's in the lead in the series. So if you're up 3-1 or if you're up 2-1, whatever you're up, whatever your position is, and even if it's tied, you're still considered as the team in the lead, right? So if the series is 2-2 and you're into game 5, you started another guy. None of these 4 starters come back. You didn't bring back your number 1. You just wanted to start another guy. You cannot use your 1 or 4, any of your number 1s through 4 starters listed already in that game out the bullpen. You can only use them if it's a deciding game as the leading team. And the leading team will only be in a deciding game in a game 7. And now if you're the team that's behind, if the only time you can use these starting pitchers that you've listed already, the 1 through 4, is in a deciding game for you. Now that can be game number 4. You're down 3-0-3. You've lost the first 3 games, and you use your number 1, your number 2, your number 3, and now you're on to your number 4. Now, if you feel like, okay, I want to bring in my number 1 after I use my number 4, or I want to go, you have to start the game with that 4th pitcher that you listed, by the way. And then secondly, you can go to the bullpen and bring out anyone. Everyone is available to you because you're in a deciding game. And game number 5 is also a deciding game for you because you're now down 1-3. So everyone is available to you. Game number 6, everyone is available to you. And game number 7, of course, everyone is available to you. But if you're tied at any point, if you're 2-2, if you're 1-1, if you're 2-1, um, it's not a deciding game. If you're 3-1, it's a deciding game because it's a 7-game series. So no one's likely using starting pitchers that they listed as a game 1, game 2, game 3, or game 4 starter. They're likely not using them until games 4, 5, 6, or 7. Now, pitchers that you have not listed as a 1, 2, 3, or 4, game 1, 2, 3, or 4 starter, everyone is allowed, regardless of if you're losing, if you're behind, or you're ahead, or you're tied. You can use these guys that weren't listed out your bullpen in the series. They're available to you at any time. Now, there's one caveat about that, and that is all starting pitchers must only be used out the bullpen from innings 1 through, I would say, is it 7? That was the rule, 1 through 7. So you can't bring him in after the 8th inning. You can't bring him in the 8th or the 9th inning. And you can't leave him in past the 7th inning, after the end of the 7th inning. Right? And you can, however, bring them in if it's an extra innings game. So after the 9th inning, you can bring them in. Except where the game goes to extra innings, where the game was in the 10th inning and on. You can bring in a starting pitcher. So what does that mean? So you have 4 guys that you believe in. You list them as your starters for games 1, 2, 3, and 4. You have extra starters, of course, available to you. What do you do with them? They are now available to you out the bullpen. And you can use them in any game, long relief, whatever the heck you want to use them as. And they must enter the game between innings 1 through 7, and they cannot go past the 7th inning. They can, however, play past the 7th inning if the game goes into extras, and you can use them. The way you would access these starting pitchers is by just, when you go to the bullpen, just hit the L1 button, and you can see all your starting pitchers. All right. So we're going to keep an eye on this and help people through this, because it might sound a little crazy, but in simple terms, if you're listing a starting pitcher as a game starter of the series 1, 2, 3, and 4, you're likely not bringing them in out the bullpen unless it's like a game 7, or you're the losing team that's down 3-1 or 3-2. So your game 7, your deciding game starts right then. So that's basically it. All 7-game series will be given a 9-day schedule, and I mentioned that earlier. So that's number 4. You will be allowed one of those extra days, a day off day, on a mutual decision between games 1 through 5. You will be given the second mutual day off whenever you guys choose to make it happen between games 6 and 7. All right. Starting pitchers and relief pitchers energy reset. So not only we're going to do resetting pitchers for the start of the postseason, we're going to be doing it throughout each series in the postseason. So, for example, if you're playing an opponent and your series ends in 5, but you're in your bracket breakdown, you're waiting for someone else that goes 7, or someone else that goes 6 games, someone else's series that goes 6 games, you're going to be allowed 2 games of energy reset so that it reflects as it would in real life, right? So this is something that we learned and we know how to do, so we're going to be allowing guys to do this. So that's, I think, the final rule of the postseason breakdown. So it's going to go throughout the postseason, and guys are going to be happy with this because a lot of the times guys always said this, like, hey, I'm being punished. My series went 4 or my series went 5, and this guy's series went 7, and he's still able to go back to his number 1, and I'm not able to go back to my number 1, and blah, 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 blah. So I should be able to set up my rotation. Well, now we have the ability to do it, and we will be doing this. As it goes in terms of the payouts, I'll be working that out tomorrow and Sunday. So look out for that. I'll post it on Discord and do the financials breakdowns on who's winning what, and so on and so forth. So I hope this was clear. If you guys got any questions and it's not, it wasn't clear enough for you guys to understand, shoot them at me and we can discuss some more. But it should be exciting. Should be a fun season, postseason, and let's get these games in. We're all about 6 or less games to play, so look out for text messages from me on getting you guys playing ASAP, because I don't see why it's only 2 games played every night. When I look into the messages, there's just a few games remaining in the season. We should just bang them out, get it over with. All right, catch you on the next video, which will likely be during these wild card rounds when we all can watch from some of these guys' Zoom calls. All right, talk soon. Peace out.